You know, I get several calls a day from people that are looking for an agent. And unfortunately, because of the enormous amount of folks that are asking for our representation, we can't sit down and meet with everybody. So we have a process. And so do most other people. When you find an agent or an agency that you're interested in, what you need to do is email them or snail mail them your photo, your resume, and how to get a hold of you. Now, a lot of people ask me, do I have to have experience? Do I have to have training? You know, and my answer is always, well, not necessarily. There are a lot of people in this business that get jobs without any training, you know, and without any experience. I tell people, you know, 80% of this industry and how you get hired or cast is based on how you look. You know, do you look right for the part? And then 20% has to be your professionalism, technique, and your ability. So when finding an agent, you want to find the right fit for you. Of course, you never want to pay anybody up front. Agencies work off commissions. For the union pay, that's the Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA, which have now merged, so they're together in one. The agent should take 10%. And for non-union work, it's common for on-camera non-union work to be 15%. And it's for print and modeling, 20%. And that's pretty standard throughout the states and throughout the country. Now, there are some that call themselves managers, and they can take 20% across the board. But really, you have to find people that are working in the industry. There's some questions that need to be answered, and there's some diligence that needs to be done. And let me give you an example. I had a call from a woman who had a daughter, 12 years old, who would like to get an agent. And I said, well, great, send over her picture and her resume. And I looked at it and I thought, damn, I'm going to bring this person in for an interview. I think she could work. And so they come on in and we introduce ourselves and we sit down and we talk. And I ask them, you know, so what have you done so far? And I see Dad kind of look away, rubbing his hands, and I see Mom kind of clutching her purse. And she says, well, we answered this radio ad, and they wanted us to come down to the hotel. And out of all these kids, they picked her. Sure, they picked other kids, but they picked her. And they told us that we needed photos and that we should go and see their photographer up north. Well, the photo package was $800, a portfolio package. And for a 12-year-old girl who's going to change dramatically in the next 1 or 2 years, these photos are going to be no good. Now, the idea being, this woman told me that they went to the hotel and they got this photo package up north, and then they told them that they needed some classes. So she went and searched around town and found these modeling acting classes. Well, for 6 months, she paid $3,000. Now, at the end of these modeling classes, acting classes, they're encouraged to enter this convention, which is held at either New York, Los Angeles, or Florida. And what happens is these folks are flown to one of these locations where they have agents and people in the industry in that area that sit and watch the kids do their commercials, their monologues, walk the runway. And after that, they have a little callback session, and they ask the kids back, and they line up in these little kiosks they have set all over, about 20 to a line, because there's hundreds of kids there, and her daughter being one of them. And they go and they interview with the agent that way. And the agent tells them, you know, if you're ever in Florida, look me up. I like you. I think maybe we could represent you. And so Mom and Dad and her all go home, and they're so excited. And but the agent told them, you know, in order for us to represent you, you got to move here. And Dad thought, well, gosh, you know, moving, that's big. I got to change jobs. I got to sell the house and all this other stuff if I'm going to do something like that. And they told him, well, we'll think about it and we'll get back to you. Well, they did get back. They thought it over, and they realized, they came to their senses. We can't do this, you know. I mean, there's so many of these people, and yeah, a little bit of interest, but nothing says it's going to be guaranteed. So they decided not to sell their house, and they decided not to change their jobs and move down there, which is probably one of the most intelligent decisions they ever made. So they're telling me this, and they've spent $800 on a photo package, $3,000 on some modeling and acting classes, and then they spent $6,000 on this convention. It's a week long. and they go, they fly, they stay in a hotel, and they do these competitions, and a week later they're gone. And so they're counting that and some of the other expenses that come along with everything, they're almost into it for $10,000 for 1 year for a 12-year-old girl who's just coming into the business. Now, then they come to me and they call me up and I bring her in. I say, I probably would have put you in the agency just with a simple photo because I like her look. I think she could work. Well, I see kind of, I read their faces and there's a little bit of disappointment and are you kidding me and whatnot. So I try to let them know that what you did, does have some value. I mean, you did have a good time and hopefully picked up some things and learned some things. But just like everything else, you got to shop around. You got to find the right fit for you. You can buy a $100 bottle of wine at the restaurant and find the same bottle of wine at the grocery store for $90 less, 90% less. So, it's when you enter this business and you're looking for an agent, it's not about spending money. Those pictures that she took, the agent that she approached might not like those pictures or want different pictures. When you're that young, simply take a photo, nice digital, photo that they have incredible cameras now, go out in the backyard, neutral background, and just a simple photo. And email that photo to the agencies for interest. And if they're interested, that photo, will tell them that. And then they'll invite you in, and then they'll have the meeting. And then they'll talk about pictures and maybe what you need to get your career going. But by no means should any agency make mandatory upfront fees, require a specific photographer, or have mandatory acting or modeling classes. Anything that's mandatory from an agency to pay should only be maybe a website fee, certain minor expenses. But if you think about it, agencies that charge fees up front, they're more interested in getting that fee out of as many people as they possibly can than they are for searching for work for people. So you want to find somebody that's working in the industry. You want to verify that. Call up casting directors locally in your area. Call some local companies that this agency says they work with. But verify it. Heck, if you're going to buy orange juice stock, you're going to be wanting to watch that stock go up or down or whatever so you'll know when to sell or buy. You got to make sure that the agent's working for you and that they're working in the industry. It's okay to contact your agent at least once a month. It's okay to email your agent with a question. Agencies, in my opinion, a good agency will not do the don't call us, we'll call you thing and actually return your calls and your emails. Find those people. When you first approach an agent and you're emailing them, who responds quicker? Well, imagine if they're doing that with you, what they're doing with the client, giving the client even better service. You want people that answer the phone when you call, respond back to you when you email. And finding an agent, again, it's finding the right fit for you. Most agencies will have access to all the local work that is union, but not every agency has access to the local work that is non-union. That's, in my mind, what separates a great agency from a good one. Some of them are Hollywood. Hey, we got the ferns in the front, we got the receptionist out there filing her nails, and some people like that Hollywood feel of agencies. But I'm more about the work. And I think that that's what the producers, directors, and casting people would like for you to be as well, is about the work. So when you're going to find an agent, find one that's working in the industry, find the right fit for you. Don't feel like you have to take the first offer. Remember, you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. And ask questions. Talk to people. Go online and search. There's lots of information you can pick up. And some of the questions you want to ask again to an agency or when you apply is, are you taking new people? How many folks in my age range do you already have and my look? Are you working in the industry? What are your commission rates? And get a feel for them. Do they care? That's huge in this business, finding somebody that cares. Good luck.